today we're going to be talking a good bit about really how to make sure you're maximizing your database and you're not losing money. So if you saw any of my social media posts leading up to this webinar today, you saw some that talked about making it rain money. So that's the goal for today. And also bigger than that, to make sure that we're taking really good care of the clients that are in our care and in our database. So let me go ahead and introduce myself, and then we're going to get started. Also, if you can make sure that you are muted. Sometimes when people come in, you're unmuted. If you can make sure you're muted, that'll help us out. And as I'm introducing myself here, if you would put in the chat box, I can see your name. If you would tell us where you're located, what your position is, and what made you interested in this webinar today. So maybe, you know, Rainmaker, I'm thinking of hiring an inside sales agent. So just tell me where you are and what made you decide to join today. And I'm going to go ahead and just read a little thing from MAPS, some housekeeping, and then we'll get started. So this class today is called Best Lead Sources for New Business with me, Anna Krueger.
You know, be able to get it done, because I think you have until the 30th. Is that your?
Make sure you're muted. Okay. And this will be recorded, and it will be on the MAPS YouTube channel within 24 hours. So you can check that out. And also you can access that from your Zoom link where you registered for this. You are all muted, but we do value participation. So if you have something you'd like to say, feel free to use the chat box. And at various points, I'll invite you to unmute yourself and go ahead and speak up here in the room. Also, if you can turn on your camera, I would love to see you. I get a lot of energy out of seeing your faces, so that would be awesome. Okay, so let's first talk about what is an inside sales agent? Why does this matter? What's the problem of why we might need them? And before I do, I know it can be helpful to know, who is this person teaching me? What authority do they have on this subject? Why should I listen to them? Who are they, basically? So if we have not met before, my name is Anna Krueger. I've been an inside sales agent where my specialty has been lead gen, lead conversion since 2006. I trained inside sales agents before coming into real estate. So when I came into real estate in 2013, I saw a huge gap of, we didn't have a lot of inside sales agents in real estate, let alone training for them. So I set out to really master the role so I'd have street cred. I wanted to show that I could do it in real estate, and then I started training it with MAPS back in 2015. So I've been really doing inside sales or coaching inside sales since 2006. And I've learned a lot of what not to do, of what can make you fail running an inside sales department. I've also learned what can help you win. So my goal is to help shorten your success today, make you a lot successful, a lot faster than I was. So that's the goal. So as we talked about this webinar, we said, how do you know it's time to hire an inside sales agent? What's the best source for inside sales agents, and how do I keep them? So let's start with just, what is an inside sales agent? So an inside sales agent, there's a lot of definitions rolling around out there, so let's just start with that. But technically, an inside sales agent, big picture, and you're getting a little preview, by the way, of what a class, these are class slides here on how to hire, train, and retain ISAs. But if you look down here at the bottom, inside sales agent ISA typically refers to the person on your team that does some inbound. So they handle leads that come into the team, like web leads, Google calls, sign calls, things like that. And they also probably do some outbound prospecting. So maybe they call for sale by owners, maybe they do some circle calling, you know, kind of a mixed bag of things. But the big picture is their main job is to be on the phone 6 out of 8 hours a day, bringing in business. That's what an inside sales agent is. So whatever definitions you may have heard today for this webinar, when we talk about an inside sales agent, what we're talking about is the person whose one job, their one thing, is to bring in new leads and convert leads into business. That's what they're here to do. So how do you know you're ready for one of these people? Well, number one, you want to make sure that you and any sales agents, so if you are an individual agent, truthfully, usually your first hire is a coach, and then your second hire is someone in admin, someone to run the operations side of your team. And the reason for that is, if you generate more sales, basically, if you had a coach, they'll help you get streamlined. And then once you're streamlined and then you're still behind, then you hire operations and they get you even more streamlined. If you hire more salespeople than you have enough systems for, you will never get your systems in place. Does that make sense? The team that I came from, we talk about that, where we hired more salespeople than we had enough operations to support. And we still were paying the price for that several years later, because our systems were pretty good, but they weren't as good as they could have been if we had operations in place before we layered in all of these salespeople. Now, if you're on a team, a sign that you're ready for an ISA would be, we're lead generating, we have good work ethic, we are doing everything we can, at least 2 hours a day, in the vein of lead generation, and we still cannot keep up with all these leads. We have more leads than we know what to do with. Now, if you have a team and you would say, if I'm honest, Anna, we don't really lead gen. We actually don't like this, and we just want to hire someone to do it for us. That's actually a way to set up that department to fail. And one reason for that is the inside sales agents are going to learn from watching you guys do it. And it's also financially can put you in a rough spot, because you already have the people. If you have a team of multiple agents, you have the people on the team to do this job. And it can save you the money of hiring an inside sales agent if we got the people we already have into the activity of lead generation. Does that make sense to everyone? Give me some feedback by nodding your head, using the chat box. Are we all tracking with me here? So it's one of those things where maybe the day will come, Jennifer says busted, you and a lot of other people, totally get it. But the day may come that you actually don't do a lot of lead gen, but you want to do it on the front end. You got to put in your time to build the team big enough that now truly, genuinely, even when we have good work ethic and we're really blocking our time, we really still can't keep up. That would be a sign it's time to hire an ISA. Another way to know is, and this one really pay attention to, guys, I would write this down and circle it, because this is a system, whether you hire someone or not, this next bullet point will change your business. I guarantee you, it will change your business. Harvard studied this, and they've actually studied it twice, once in 2012 and once more recently, and they found the data was the same. The data had not changed. Despite the years in between the studies, the data had not changed. And what they found is, for inside sales agents, if you call a new lead, so say a new lead came in today, and you call that lead 6 times, ideally within 10 business days, ideally within 6 business days, but no more than 10 business days, you will have a 90% contact ratio. So let's have a real deal call. And honestly, if this is the one thing you get from today's webinar, it will change your business. You're going to get a lot more than just this, but this will help you. I want you to take a minute, and I want you to jot some numbers down. And estimates are okay if you're not sure, just do an estimate. I want you to think through, for your team, how many new leads did you receive in the last 7 days? Jot down a number. So how many new leads did you receive in the last 7 days? Now I want you to multiply that number by 6 calls for each lead. So if you had 30 leads come in, you're going to do 30 times 6 call attempts. And you're going to get a total number of call attempts. Tracking? We're doing math and it's a Thursday afternoon. What in the world? So 30 new leads, 6 calls each lead. You should have a total number there. And if that's your number, you'd have 300 call attempts, right? 30 times 6, 300 call attempts. Now I want you to ask yourself, how confident are you that that actually happened? How confident are you that all of the new leads you've had just in the last 7 days actually got called 6 times within the first 6 days? So if they came in 1 week ago, this should have already happened. And will you just tell me, you can unmute yourself or use the chat box, what are you seeing in your numbers as you do this? Is it happening? How many call attempts would have had to happen? Let's hear from at least one person. What are you learning about your business right now? I like Tommy. I see that I'm not paying attention. You and probably everybody else. It is incredibly rare. In fact, I can say, I don't know if it has ever happened that I teach this content and someone raises their hand and says, that's actually happening. That's why it's a good thing you're here. Yeah, I'm lead deficient. I need to call more. So maybe, yeah, maybe you need more leads. I got to get busy. So here's the thing. You can quickly see, especially if you're an agent and you're out showing houses, you're out listing houses, you're writing contracts. Can you see how very quickly you might have more leads than you can handle by yourself, even if you have all agents on deck? And what happens a lot of times, guys, is people will go pay for more leads. But let me find something here. I'm going to use my water bill. I have my water bill sitting right here. This is a lead. Okay. I already have it in my database. And you know what? I'm just going to pay for more leads. I'm not going to call this lead I already have 6 times in 6 days. We're just going to spend more money. This is what you're doing to the leads. That's what you're doing, right? Like, we have good leads, but we're not calling them enough. So we might perceive that they aren't good leads. There's been several teams I've worked with finding inside sales agents, and they will say, Anna, I thought that I did not have good lead sources. And then we actually started calling them 6 times in 6 days with a strategy. It's an excellent lead source. I'm realizing we just didn't call them enough. We were dismissing them as not great leads. And actually they're great leads. We just weren't calling them enough. So the other thing I want you to think about is when you have 75 contacts, write this down. This is a good metric to know. If you are converting at an average rate, 75 contacts should earn 1 closing. That should earn 1 closing. So I want you to think of how many leads you had come in just in the last week. And for some of you, it might be 2. For some of you, it could be 30. It kind of depends on the size of your team here. But how many closings did you miss in the last week or the last month by not calling these leads 6 times in 6 days? And how much money does that represent? You know, if you had 75, how many of you, can you just put in the chat box actually how many leads you had come in the last week? Let's get some dollars going here. So 6, and again, it's all just going to depend on the size of your team. 15, 17. It's 75 people that pick up the phone, Jennifer. So contacts just, and some of them will hang up on you. Some of them will stay on the phone. But it's the idea that 75 people picked up the phone and they knew I was calling about real estate. Okay. So let's just take an average of 10. Will everybody grab your calculator real quick and I'll do it here on the screen. We're going to put some real dollars here. I see some of you 15, 17, others below 10. So we're just going to say the average is 10. And if you take 10, if everybody can make sure you're muted, please. If you take 10 contacts a week, that's going to take you 7.5 weeks to get a closing if you're only calling new leads. This isn't even counting everyone else in your database, okay? We're just talking brand spanking new leads. If you average 10 a week, 7.5 weeks are going to equal a closing for you. Does this make sense to everyone? Because 75 contacts equals a closing. Well, if we take 52 weeks in a year divided by 7.5 weeks, that means you're missing 7 closings a year if all you're getting is 10 leads a week. Does this math make sense to y'all? Any questions? Well, if we take 7 closings, will you put in the chat box, what's your average commission? Just tell me what your average commission is. I might be jealous of some of you because I live in South Carolina and we have a low cost of living. So whenever I find out other people's commission, I'm like, bah! Okay, 8,500. I'm seeing like 85. Let's do 8,000. That's probably average of all the responses there. So 7 times 8,000 means if you're not calling new leads 6 times in 6 days to get a 90% pickup rate, and you're getting 10 leads a week on average, you're missing $56,000 of income. That's pretty big, right? And if you're a larger team here and you're having 20 new leads, you know, it just compounds the bigger that you are. And guys, we're not even talking about leads already in your database. Some of you have, 2,000 leads in your database. And the truth is, and we're not judging you, this is common. Many of you might say, I don't even know the last time I called some of these people. They've been in here so long. It's been years since I've called that. And I've had that too in my database. So the point I'm making here, do you see the opportunity? Do you see the opportunity? You may have a huge opportunity for income, and that the answer isn't necessarily to go buy new leads. It might be. I don't know your business enough to know. We're on a group call. My guess would be a lot of you, if you had someone that could actually work the leads you're already receiving, you would see an increase in your income, and this person would pay for themselves. So let me give you one more metric of signs to know it's a good time to hire an inside sales agent. And then we're going to talk about how do you find them. And then I'm going to give you some resources. So the last metric I'll give you is you do want to make sure you have 2 to 3 agents per inside sales agent. Let me ask you, why do you think that is? Someone unmute yourself. Why would you want to have 2 to 3 agents for one ISA? And again, the ISA is responsible to set appointments for agents. That's really what they're doing.
To be able to handle the leads that are coming in?
Absolutely. Yep. And the thing is, Jim, when I started on a team, they hired me early and we knew that. I got laid off my job, so they hired me. And they said, we're not quite ready for you. And you know what we found out pretty quick? There were 2 agents and I was one ISA. And after doing the job for just a couple weeks, I was setting enough appointments that I was like, guys, there's no room in the calendar for appointments. I'm having to put people several weeks out because there's not enough spots for me to put them, which is a great problem, right? So what we found is you really need to have 2 to 3 full-time agents to support the work that one inside sales agent is going to provide for you. And let me give you a little tip. Here's another business changing tip. Whether you hire an ISA or not, what I'm about to tell you will help your business. We've studied this. If you set an appointment and it comes in to meet with you or wherever you meet, you go to their house. But if that appointment happens within 48 hours, 2 days, max, you have a 70 to 80% chance that the appointment will happen. If the appointment happens 49 hours or more, so now we're 3 days out or more, take a guess. What percentage do you think actually happened? It's 20%. So if you have an inside sales agent, or even for yourself, maybe you're setting appointments for yourself right now, just know you could do everything textbook perfectly. And if you have that appointment more than 2 days out, you have a 20% chance that they will show up. If it happens within 2 days, you have a 70 to 80% chance they will show up. How many of you just learned something that you're going to change right away? So it's really important that you hire an inside sales agent when you have enough agents to support them having enough appointment spots to fill. Make sense? So that's the other thing that we need to do. Guys, I have a lot more that I want to say on this, but we're going to transition into where do you find this person. But I do want you to know we have a class on this on June 16th. It's 5 weeks, and we go through this in much greater detail. We go over how do you know you need this person? Where do you find them? How do you hire them? How do you pay them? Are they local? Are they virtual? What are some fun ways to keep them engaged? How do you make the agents and ISAs get along so they don't fight? Sometimes agents are like, who is this ISA coming in here, taking over my calendar? So how do you help them get along? So just know we have a 5-week class on this starting June 16th. It's $199 for the entire class, 5 weeks, okay? And we'll tell you how to find that in just a minute. So now let's talk about how do you actually find this person? So I'll tell you a couple lead sources. One of the best lead sources that I have found, this is my background, and then this is also where we found people, college recruiters. And let me explain why. I used to be a college recruiter. I've recruited several of them, and they all are knocking it out of the park, okay? College recruiters are salespeople, right? Like their job is to enroll people into a school. But the Department of Education has a rule, and actually I think this is good because it's education, but they have a rule that you are not allowed to make commission if you are a college advisor. So what might that mean? And think about this. College advisors are talking to people about something that costs a lot of money. How much does an average college degree cost these days? I haven't been in school for a long time, so I don't know, maybe some of you have kids in school. How much does it cost to put someone through school these days? Probably, I know it depends where you go. When I went to school, and this was 20 years ago, oh my gosh, I'm revealing myself here. It was 20 grand a year for where I went to school. So 80 grand for a 4-year degree 20 years ago. So what is it today? Do you see how that's a high dollar investment? So you have college advisors talking to people that are about to drop a lot of money. You know what else it takes to enroll in school? Financial aid. That's a lot of paperwork. And it takes a lot of time and commitment. So you have people that may be incredibly skilled at talking with people about high dollar investments that are going to take a lot of time and involve a lot of paperwork, but they're not allowed to make commission. So can you see how this could be a really good fit for them to slide over into the world of real estate? So if you can find a college recruiter, they likely will do a pretty good job. Of course, interview them. You want to follow the process of interviewing them, but you're starting off with someone who knows what it takes to have a long-term sales process with someone. In the same vein, another good source are military recruiters. Same thing. It's a big decision that takes a lot of time to figure out with lots of paperwork. Another good one would be headhunters. So, and I'm not saying hire a headhunter to find this person. I'm saying the actual headhunter themselves could be great. Because again, you're talking to people about a major life change that takes a lot of time and energy to do, right? And so headhunters, military recruiters, college recruiters all tend to do really well. The other place that we recommend is your sphere and past client list. So I've been very blessed that since I've coached with MAPS now since 2015, I have 7 years of experience within real estate coaching. And then I did this before real estate. And as I ask top teams, where did you find your talent? The number one overwhelming answer is they came through my sphere, my vendors, or past clients. Over and over and over. There's one team that I know of who hires a lot of people from online, but they are so big that they have a full-time recruiter that has the time and capacity to sort through a bunch of online resumes. It's almost like they have an inside sales agent for recruiting. So that team does a lot of online. The website they use the most is Indeed.com. So if you're going to do online, Indeed.com tends to be a really good website for that. But overwhelmingly, I would call your sphere, past clients, vendors, lenders, and just say, hey, who do you know that maybe is a college recruiter, a military recruiter, a headhunter? You know, who do you know that's really good with people? They just make quick connections with people. People like them. They're a people person. And this is going to sound like a Hallmark card, guys, but the right person is going to feel like a friend very quickly. The first time you talk to them, you're just going to feel at ease with them pretty quickly. And that makes sense, right? Because you're hiring someone to make phone calls on your behalf to bring business in. So they should feel like a friend pretty quickly over the phone. If they're kind of stiff and unpersonable, that's not a good fit for this position. This is a phone sales position. Also, last thing I'll say, and then I'll open it up to questions. I'm going to say it several times. This is a sales position. This is not a customer service position. I have coached a lot of people that are customer service people, and they struggle in this position because customer service is very geared towards making you happy. And let me be clear, a good salesperson is going to make sure people are happy too, right? But what I find is the personality of customer service people, they don't like to rock the boat. They want to make sure everybody's happy. And a good salesperson, you need to be okay asking for the appointment. You need to be okay, like getting outside your comfort zone. The way I would describe it is, because I would say I like to make people happy. Like that's my personality. I'm a people person. The way I used to look at it though as an inside sales agent is if you work with any other team than ours, that is going to be to your detriment. Like you might lose money. You're not going to be taken care of. You're not going to get to be part of our client network. So put some urgency in you to push past objections. I would describe it as a good inside sales agent will have the mindset of, I'm standing on the side of the road and the road is up ahead and I know it. So how am I going to show up to people driving down the road? Am I going to be, hey, I don't mean to bother you, but the road's up ahead, but don't stop. I mean, I really don't want to bother you about it, you know? No, we want someone who's like, hi, my name's Anna. The road is up ahead, and I know the best way to help you avoid that. You're going to want to turn left right here, make a right, and that'll get you around the road. Like they're directive, they're confident, they're sales, and they're not afraid to tell someone what needs to happen next. Make sense? So this is not a customer service position. This is a sales position, 100%. They need to be good with customers, but we are not looking for someone who's a customer service person. We are looking for a sales person, okay? All right. Woo, I feel almost a little out of breath because I wanted to give you a lot in a short period of time. So here's the thing, guys. Can y'all see that this position's important? Whether you're ready to hire for it right now, or you might be thinking, I might not be ready for a while, but I want to learn more about this. So I'm ready when the time comes. We have a class on June 16th where we spend 5 weeks, 1 hour a week. It's all recorded. So if you can't join us live, you can watch the recording. And we go through more detail of how do you know you're ready. We go through how do you pay them? You know, are they salary? Are they commission? What's that look like? Are they licensed or unlicensed? Are they local to you, or could you hire someone virtually? What's that look like? So we go through hiring. I give you a job ad that you can use. Then we transition into how do you onboard them onto the team? So how do you train them? How do you make sure that they mesh with the agents well? How do you build that culture? And then we go through, after all of this hard work, how do you keep them on your team? Because if you went through all this work to find them, we want them to stay if they're the right fit. So how do you help make sure this person stays on the team? So we're going to spend 5 weeks talking about that. On June the 16th is the beginning. And to learn more about it, there's a link. I'll post it right now in the chat box. If you're watching this recording and you don't see the chat box, just go to the MAPS group coaching page and you'll see how to hire, train, and retain inside sales agents. You could also just go to ISAMAPScoaching.com and you'll see the class. ISAMAPScoaching.com is another spot. But that's 2 weeks away, guys. I can't believe June 16th is only 2 weeks away, but that's what it is. So let me open it up to questions. What other questions do you guys have? We can stay on maybe another 2 minutes. I want to respect your time. What other questions do you guys have related to hiring inside sales agents?
I have a question regarding the leads. I'm a part of Crexy, the Crexy Pro, and I know with Crexy you can get a list of people who have checked out your listings, even though maybe they didn't call you. Would those be good leads for somebody?
Absolutely. Hey, Jim, it's Anna calling from the Haro group. Hey, I saw you were checking out our listings online and I would love to help you. What has you thinking about moving?
Yeah.
And by the way, I saw some questions in the chat box about how to talk to leads. And then what do you say, calling them 6 times? We have a whole class for that as well for the person doing lead gen, lead conversion. It's called Mastering Inside Sales. And we have that class running right now. And then we have another one launching in August. So just know when you hire this person, or even for you yourself, if you're thinking, well, I'm doing the lead gen. What do I say to these people when I call them 6 times in 6 days? Again, if you just go to ISAMAPScoaching.com, you will see both classes there. The one for how to hire this person, as well as the one for what to say when you call leads, okay? So we're here to solve both problems, how to find them and then how to train them. Truthfully, in Mastering Inside Sales, half the class are agents. I polled them one time. It was almost 50-50. Okay, are the ISAs on straight commission? That's a loaded question for a very short time. It depends on how your team sets it up. There's 3 different ways you can pay ISAs, and we spend a whole entire hour on that in the class. The short answer is most are a base pay plus a commission split. That's the short answer. Okay, I do recommend that they're licensed. I see that question, and that's because then they can get commission. You can't pay someone commission if they're not licensed. Do a lot of ISAs become agents? So that's actually something we address in the class, is how do you help them want to stay an ISA? Sometimes they do become agents. I mean, and I think that's fine. A lot of you are agents and now you're rainmakers building a team, right? Like that's not an unusual thing. But what I will tell you is ISAs that are on a team that treat them well, they pay them well, you have developed a culture that appreciates the ISAs. And this is me, by the way, as well. Like, I think to myself, why in the world would I ever want to be an agent? I have never, and you guys might be thinking, why in the world would I ever want to be an ISA? And that's why we make a great team, right? Some of you love the variety of getting in your car and driving people around, or the rush of negotiating a contract on a Sunday afternoon. And some of you are even nodding your heads like, that's me. I like that. I hate that. Like, do not call me on Sunday. That's my day off. Like, I'm really big on like, when it's 5:30, I'm done. I will make you a lot of money up until 5:30 every day. But after 5:30, I'm out. Like, I do not want an agent position ever. And some of you are thinking, I would never want to be in the office all day calling leads until 5:30. That sounds miserable. And then we got to pair you guys up. Okay. So know that I've coached inside sales agents that are doing this 5-6 years, and they say the same thing. Why would I ever want to be an agent? I make great money. I have a set schedule. I work with fun people. I would never want to be an agent. I love inside sales. So we got to just help you find those people and then get you paired up on the same team. And then you can drive around and write contracts. And we want you to be good at that. So you keep doing that and let us find leads for you so you can do more of that. Okay? That's the beauty of a team. Someone just private messaged me and said, that's me. Do not call me on my time off. So, hey, maybe we have an ISA in here. Awesome. Okay, I think we answered a lot of it. Join the class, How to Hire, Train, and Retain ISAs. Listen, we do not offer that class often. So really hear this. Even if you're not making that hire now, you can always educate yourself now. You'll have the notes so that if in 6 months you're ready, you can refer back to your notes. We do not offer this class often. So June the 16th, How to Hire, Train, and Retain Inside Sales Agents. And again, if you are not sure where to find that, just go to ISAMAPScoaching.com. I'll put it in the chat box one more time. And you will see both classes that I teach, the one for the lead generator. And if you're an agent and you want to be better talking to leads, you could take that class, even though it's called Mastering Inside Sales. The class we're talking about today starts June 16th, and you will also find that class on the website. Jennifer, I do provide scripts for the ISA to use in the class Mastering Inside Sales. So the one for you guys, How to Hire, Train, and Retain, we're all talking rainmaker stuff. Like, how do you pay them? How do you hire them? How do you keep them? We're not doing scripts in that class. The scripts are in Mastering Inside Sales. But yeah, I load them up. 18 weeks of scripts, language patterns. They'll be good after the 6 months. They'll be fine. Someone just private messaged me and said, can I join the class, the lead gen training class now, even though it started? Yes. So I would join soon. So if you want to be in Mastering Inside Sales, we're 4 weeks in out of 18, but they've all been recorded. So say you sign up today, you'll have immediate access to 4 hours on-demand training, and then you can catch up with us and join us for sessions 5 through 18. Yeah, and we address every, I'll say this and then I'll let y'all go. When COVID hit, I lived by myself and I entertained myself by, what are all the things I wish I knew when I was a new ISA? And I made this huge list. And then I gave it to other ISAs in the industry that I considered top performers. And I said, what are we missing? What did I not think about? And that is how the program became 18 weeks. So we didn't sit down to write an 18-week program. We just sat down to write, what do they need to know? And it became 18 weeks. And the goal is at the end of that 18 weeks, anyone that takes that class, agent or ISA, anyone that talks to leads, you not only know how to talk to leads, you have tons of scripts and language patterns, but you also know how to think like a business owner within the business you work for. So Jim, let's say I'm on your team. I have a mini business within your business, right? Like my income is going to depend on how well I run my lead generation business within your business. right? And the good news is the more I understand that, the more your business is going to grow too. So the goal of mastering inside sales, to be clear, that's not the one starting June 16th. The one mastering inside sales, the goal is every person by the time they're done, I know how to think and act like a lead generation ninja, mastermind business owner within the business that I work for. And if you're an agent, you would benefit even though it's called Mastering Inside Sales. Okay, what does it cost to sign up? Both classes are $199 a month. Now, how to hire, train, and retain ISAs is only 1 month, so it's $199. The Mastering Inside Sales is $199 a month for 6 months. But we don't ask for all of it up front. We just say pay us $199 for 6 months. Makes it more accessible. Cool, and Rodrigo just put the links for both in there. But yeah, the window is closing to sign up for Mastering Inside Sales. Several of you actually messaged about that. Again, we just had week 4. Week 5 is next week. I'd sign up soon or just wait till August 3rd. That's the next time we launch. But you can still we still have people signing up. It's fine. But just know if you get so far in, you got too much to watch to catch up. So I would do it soon. And then the one on how to hire, train, and retain ISAs starts June 16th. It's 5 weeks, $199. Whew. Any other questions, thoughts, comments? I used to be a high school teacher and I used to say thoughts, comments, or snide remarks. So if you have those, you can dish them out too. That's fine. Anything else before we close out? Well, you guys have been great to hang out with today. I see a lot of new faces. Would you put in the chat box how you heard about this webinar? I'm an inside sales agent, guys. I have to know how you knew about us. So I'm curious, was it like social media? Who told you to be here today? Because I see a lot of faces I've never seen before, which is awesome. Through your MAPS coach, Jamie Cox. Awesome. Young professionals, that's awesome. Social media. Very cool. Well, Jamie, I owe Jamie a huge thank you. That's awesome. Cool. Looks like a lot of you heard about it from your MAPS coach, which is great. Tell them thank you for me. That's cool. So I hope to see many of you June the 16th. And then if you want to hop into Mastering Inside Sales, you can, or join us August 3rd, whatever serves you best. Anything else? Okay. Reggie, I see you keep unmuting. Do you have something you want to say?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So I jumped in super late because I got mixed up between this one and the one you're having on June 13th.
I know. I posted the wrong link on social media. I was like, this is why I'm not in operations.
It's okay. But yeah, just a real quick question. So I'm the lead ISA here in North Carolina with ACO Realty. And just a quick question, like, are all the appointments, all appointments that should be set, they all should be pre-approved before they're handed over? It's
up to the team. My personal standard is yes, but that's really up to the team. So I would talk with your agents that you're setting appointments for and just ask their preference. When I was new, I didn't worry about getting people pre-approved because I didn't even really know what that meant. But by 6 months in, my personal standard was, I felt like the bouncer for the team. And I was like, I didn't say it this way, but my mindset was, you ain't meeting with our agents if you're not pre-approved.
right.
Of course, I didn't say it that way, but I wanted to protect the agent's time. And so by about 6 months in, I did make sure everyone was pre-approved. But I didn't do that right away because I had so much to learn. I just wasn't ready to talk about that with clients yet.
Right.
So
I got
that
that definitely. And then to attach to that, and then I'll let you go. Attach to that. So does that mean ones who are maybe 4 months out or 5 months out, you're just nurturing those?
Yeah, and again, it would depend on your team. So my personal standard is buyers that are 3 months or less, I'll meet with them, or I'll set them for an agent. I didn't meet with them. And then sellers that are 6 months or less, I would set them.
Gotcha. Perfect.
And I will say we change that sometimes because if we were low on agents and we didn't have enough time in the calendar, I would tighten that up. But generally speaking, it was 3 months or less for buyers, 6 months or less for sellers. That was the general rule of thumb.
Thank you so much.
And again, just go to isamapscoaching.com. You'll see both classes there. You'll see a link that says Mastering Inside Sales. That's the one. If you want to know how to talk to leads, that's the class for you. And then how to hire, train, and retain ISAs. That link is also on isamapscoaching.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Perfect, guys. All right. Thanks for joining me today. We're 40 minutes into a 30-minute webinar, so I'm going to respect your time. But I will see you guys later. Have a great Thursday, and thanks for hanging out with me today.